Okay, I told you things in space are just like the things on Earth, and this is a tendon ball, and that is a bundle, I believe it's muscle fibers. I'm not certain, but I would suspect they are, that little pinchy. These are tendon straps, and there's an abrupt transition where it broke off, and then as you saw in that other picture, there's a little hole there, and I believe there was a bone came down, or it was a tendon stalk, one or the other, but there is abrupt transitions, and then they break. And these are the fibers, all right, and that is the muscle bundle right there. Any anatomist will understand what they're looking at, all right. They landed a Philae lander right about there, a little tiny lander. That, you know, this thing is huge. This thing is the size of Raleigh, North Carolina, so it's not small. And then they sampled the dust and everything else, and the gases that came off of here as it started to have its coma. And I have the spectral analysis. I have everything. I studied this day one, stayed on it every single minute of the day. And here's what happened. Here's the comas. You see, remember I told you there's an artery? Every part of your body has to be fed with blood. These are blood vessels. Because everything has to be fed with blood. So there's a bunch of tiny ones, but then you got to have a big pumper. That's the pumper. And that one there got hit by, when the light comes right down into it, it cooks it, just like it does, you know, like a radar range. Now, these are the little spikes around the outside of it. And that was locked into something somewhere, into a foot or into a, I don't know what. And these are little anchor spots. These do not gas off. Only the holes gas off. Now, and see, this goes back to 2015. They show these, they were talking about where they were going to land in the backup sites. I think they ended landing right outside the neck. 67 peak patterns. What do we got? All right, well, you see how the gases shoot off this way, this way, this way? That's because those are the blood vessels. They're shooting this way, this way. That's not just dust blowing off of there. That is because of the direction the blood vessel is pointing. You see, they have this, another one of these tendon stalks. And all of the moons have them. Every single moon does too. I am sorry, that is just a fact. I don't know whether this is a moon or just a comet or an asteroid. They all have them. And that's 67P. And that's that stalk coming up to where the muscle started. Because just the tendons broke right off there. There was probably muscles running right up here, and then either the bone running down the middle, I don't know. I don't know what it's from. I don't know what kind of creature it's from. But I can tell you it's biological. Of that, there is no question. And they also did the spectral analysis. And so is Comet Umumunu, or whatever they call it. This is a finger. And I've had an anatomist look at this, and he said it's the fingeriest looking finger he's ever seen. That's the grip skin. This right here is the apical tuft. You have to know what you're doing to be able to analyze what you're seeing here. The apical tuft, I have one here somewhere. Here's what it is. This sits right here. And you see that ball right there? And that is what locks in all these little tendon fibers right there. There's another one here. There's another one here. There's another one here. These are all anchors so that your finger can do this. That's the grip skin breaking off. This is the vein, the black one. This is the artery, the other side. That's the finger coming. It ripped right out. It ripped right out. There's body parts all over space. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you how this happened. There are stories about battles in the heavens. And even the ancient Greeks, in their myths, they said a human drama played out in the heavens. Now, what did they mean by that? I don't know. But what are these things doing there? Because they talked about battles in the heavens. Battles in the heavens. And even in India, in all that, they talked about Vimanas and huge battles going on in the sky. Were these actual gigantic people fighting in the sky? It could be. How can you say no? How could you possibly say no now? Don't forget, that's the size we're talking about. Now, if you haven't read Metamorphosis, and I'm sure you probably haven't, it was by Ovid. He lived around the about 0 AD. Let's put him right about there. And he wrote up till the time of Julius Caesar. But the most important thing he wrote was all about the creation, the ages of mankind, the flood, all of that stuff. And he was directed to write this by the daughters of Zeus. This is what the story was. And here's his first words to start. He says, I intend to speak of forms changed into new entities. Accompanying the theme is often violence inflicted upon a victim whose transformation becomes part of the natural landscape. They did this for fun, the gods, it sounds like. There was some crazy stuff going on. And let me show you why I can say it appears to be true. All right, the ones that I have are from the flood, I'm sure. But these were transformed into landscape for fun. This is a tendon. You see this? Somehow they encased them in solid, whatever was muscle, they somehow turned it into stone. These things I don't know how they did, but I can tell you what, that's a tendon. Now, nobody puts a tendon inside of a sculpture and then also puts blood and all of that stuff and bone and everything inside and muscle inside of a sculpture, and designs the shoulder to be exactly anatomically perfect if it was sliced off. This is, or was at one time, a living creature. Now they've tried to patch this up. They put some rebar in it and so forth. But remember this tendon. Just look at this tendon. Hold on. All right, there it is right there. There's no missing it. That's just exactly identical. And there are a ton of other ones that I have that show the bodies inside the statues. A lot of Egyptian ones. All right, this was a Brian Forrester video, and he says very strange weathering. And these are the ribs inside of a giant statue of a pharaoh or something over there in Egypt. And these are, I believe, this is lung, and this is the chest cavity right here. Now, I was hoping I get a lot of stuff from Brian's work because he asks a lot of questions, but he's not prepared to go the extra mile of really being serious about what he's finding. Because you can look and ask all the questions you want, but if you won't think about the answers, well, the questions are just kind of circular. All right, what I can see from here is they had some way of taking the exterior flesh. They must have had some chemistry that could solidify just that, because right underneath there, that's your areolar tissue. It's the really floppy stuff under the exterior. There's a layer of skin, and then below that you get that floppy stuff. But this is the tight stuff, and you can see here's the guy's cranium is cracking it right there. So this was just right over the top of it, and they somehow forced it to solidify. I don't know how. And it almost looks like this guy's hair was around that, or they had a cap over him, or I don't know what. But it looks like they buried him this way, and they preserved in this manner, All right, so stick with Mud Fossil University, Clash of the Titans. We're going to take over the world.